So we were talking about the drawstring bag. So it's large enough to put a watermelon in it, even though I really don't know if you want to put something that heavy on your shoulder. You don't have to put it on your shoulder. You can carry it in your hand. But it's just a nice, I call it the farmer's market bag. And again, everything is one of a kind. So you might want a large, but I don't have a pattern. It's in my head. And that is one of the things that people really get confused about. They're like, well, where's your pattern? I don't have it. I can't get into some of these groups because they're only about publishing patterns. I don't have those patterns. Sorry, God put them in my head, and that's just the way it is. And so you were talking about
the drawstring.
The drawstring. And, how you come up with different things is trial and error, honestly. But I guarantee you, somebody out there is looking at that going, oh, I do just this little bit different. And so that's that inspiration, and take that. It's just go to your yarn store if you're thinking that way and you're like, I do it a little bit different. I just use 100% cotton yarn, and this is actually almost all crocheted. There's very little of it that's knit, and that's it. That's all there is. There's nothing else in this but this 100% cotton yarn. And that's one of the things that I'm really proud of, the fact that I can make these bags that are 100% cotton. And they do cost a little bit, but they're so worth it because they really will last a lifetime. You throw in your washer and dryer, which is awesome. Okay. Washer and dryer, you get stuff spilled, you have that apple that goes bad. Not a problem. Throw it in there.
And that's part of the DPG brand. If it needs to be repaired or
repaired, touch up, get in contact with me and we'll talk about it. So we want to talk about some paintings.
Let's get to this paintings. While she's pulling out her paintings, I want you all to know to make it take the glue time to find out what's in your mind. And if you go inside, you never know what you're going to find. And that is all we're doing right here. ADHD is real. All day having dreams. And this is Colleen's way of sharing her dreams with the Glue Factory. She's about to introduce us to some of her paintings.
So I didn't let Capri see these until now. She did see one in the car, which is being delivered today. And you can post a picture of that after.
Okay.
And so this one is still a little bit wet. When I paint at home, I tend to use oil paints. I love using oil paints.
Okay.
But I do paint nights, which is a new part of the APP Corporation, and all of the paintings are Clackerson Painting, and Clackerson Paintings are sold exclusively by DPG.
Okay.
So that's why I said there's kind of layers of the business. So all of the paintings and paint night, Clackerson Come Paint With Me is the name of that business.
I love that.
So I'm working on my business cards. We're kind of tweaking the font and everything because when I write out Clackerson, the L kind of gets lost, and so it doesn't kind of look like an L. So we're kind of just playing with the font before we actually print them out. But as soon as I have some, you'll be having some of those. So it's Clackerson Come Paint With Me, and we'll put the website link up when that gets ready, as well as DPG. And so
you keep me posted and just send me
definitely. So this is still wet, so I'm going to hold this on the edge, but this is just one of the oil paintings that I've done recently, and this is Life's Storms, because we all have these storms in our life, and I know it's very abstract, and some people don't like abstract art. That's fine. I kind of am halfway between an impressionist, a realism painting, and the abstract. And so there's layers and layers of paint on this. I think it's 4 or 5 layers in there, but you can kind of see, it's hard to see on camera, you can kind of see this faint cross in the back. That's actually in glow paint. So this will actually glow in the dark. Not the whole painting, but there's some parts of this that'll glow in the dark. And so that's, what keeps me solid in the storms of life is my faith. And so that's why that's kind of important to me. And for anybody who does ever purchase a Clackerson painting, you will notice, and there it goes on the floor. It's not going to break. It's pretty sturdy, but I'm hoping that I didn't get paint on the floor.
No.
So any painting that you purchase from Clackerson Paintings, and you can see on the back, they are all names and the month and year that it was made, as well as the medium. So whether or not, I just happen to get these panels nice and cheap. So whether it's oil or if it's acrylic or whatever kind of media that I use. And then they're all signed. Every one of my paintings are one of a kind. They're all signed. So I try my best to sign it on the front as well, but you can see as dark as this is, I usually sign it in the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see some of the other paintings that I sign the front and the back. So you'll know that it is authentic.
Okay.
So there's no question if it's authentic because I sign all my paintings the same way. So if it is a canvas painting, I didn't bring any canvas. I brought a picture of one. Okay. I signed it at the top on the wood and on the bottom.
Okay.
So that way it's no question. So this one is a gift that's being mailed to a friend of mine. I let Capri see it before you guys do, sorry. So this is called Good Morning World.
It's beautiful.
Because this is what I see every morning when I drive to work over the Coleman Bridge. Well, I don't see the dolphins.
You keep talking.
So you can see the birds over the water. And I just love how God paints the sky in all these beautiful colors. And so I'm always taking these pictures of the sky to try to learn how to capture that in painting. And so, again, this is an oil painting, and this is being sent down to Florida.
Wow, that's a great place to send the sunset.
Yes, this is going to Florida, and this should be mailed out in the next week or two, so I won't tag her name. But once she has it, then I will tag her name.
Problem.
So I don't want her to see it before she gets it. So
you keep making
I know.
They look so precious and so fragile. That may be why I'm responding in that way.
Yeah, they're not quite as fragile as I think they look on the outside. So then we have this a beautiful water scene, and it's storm surge at sunset, so you can see the beautiful sunset and just the water just kind of crashing on these couple of rocks on the side. And this is both oil and acrylic. So anybody who paints knows that oil and acrylic don't really mix very well. So, and that, it takes a lot of time to let those layers dry and to let them mash together.
Okay.
And like I said, you can see they're all signed. And this is a 5x7. I do larger than even a 16x20. So, I mean, I do panel, I do canvas. I really get inspired to paint with oils. Oils to me are...
it just did something to your spirit. I don't know if y'all saw that switch.
It's relaxing to me. And it's... I let me flow out of it. Everything that God's put in me, and there's painters, classical painters, and the greats, if you will. The ones that paint from within, from what's inside them, they're more inspiring. And so, to me, that's just always. I've always been
just going with the technique. And doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing, and that's a very, very awesome skill to be able to look at something and paint it exactly how it is. They're still showing you what they see. But I just think it's not like taking a photograph. There's something even more personal about it. Yeah, there's something even more personal about it, I think, when you paint it. But that's just me. So this one, as I've showed this, it's hard to see on camera, but there's metallic in there. There's all kinds of shades. The first 3 of these 5x7s that I had painted, I was showing them to people. I said, what's your favorite and why? And so... when we're done going over these, I'm going to ask you the same question. What's your favorite and why?
Okay.
So this one is called Do You See What I See? Because everybody who saw this saw something different. So, and I can tell you a little bit about what I saw. Sorry, that's just my alarm. I can tell you what I saw later on when I ask you what you saw. This is also oil and acrylics together. So, and it just has shades of different color. And the last one I want to show you today is Love Out of the Darkness.
And I can already say that's my favorite one.
So it's Love After the Darkness, and it doesn't show up as well on camera, but you can really see the different textures and the different shades of the dark colors. So we all have that dark place within us that having that bad day and just having that dark place. Any of you that are listening to this, and I guarantee it, you've been touched by suicide in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a family member, a friend of a friend, you have. I'm sorry, and it's a horrible place that we all have to deal with. But that's where that painting comes from, is that place of darkness and coming out of that darkness. And Out of the Darkness as a whole just inspires me so much. And so I've done several for them, which you've already seen, because I really have a heart for that, to really just help people come out of that dark place, because suicide is 100% preventable. It is the only thing, the only condition that is 100% preventable. And suicide is preventable by helping people coming out of that dark place, coming out of that depression. And it's not an overnight thing. It is a process. And you need to take the time to go through that process. And on that, we'll end the segment.
And part of that process is my glue process, to let those of us that have been touched by suicide know that God loves unconditionally, even us, and it's our duty to give love unto everyone right where they are, not where we want them to be.
Right.
Be you, be great. Start your upper movement today, for tomorrow is a promise. Please go out there and get yourselves tested for HIV/AIDS. And know that God loves unconditionally everyone. And it's our duty in the Glue Factory to give love unto everyone. That's Colleen Ackerson, baby.
That's Glue, baby.